Well. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm Jade. I'm your host for today. And in this episode, we're diving into some hot political topics, recent updates from the Republican National Convention, the RNC, another tragic shooting incident, President Biden's recent COVID diagnosis, and his statement about stepping down if advised by doctors. And then there's also a viral video of our favorite pundit, Van Jones, commenting on the current state of both parties, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Additionally, we have breaking news on an assassination attempt on Trump, his upcoming rally, and more. Joining me today are our queens, Constance Carter. This is Constance. She is a wealth connoisseur. We also have with us a wealth connoisseur and a wealth activist. That's Constance Carter. We also have with us Dr. Alicia Watkins. She's a social worker, professor, and clinical therapist. We're also joined by Miss Laura Lala Key. She's an international real estate agent. And also we're joined by Queen Athena Gardner. She's a CPA and wealth coach of We Wealth Women. Welcome, ladies, to the panel. I am drinking lots of Bustelo. If you see me looking up, I'm looking at the television. I'm not rolling my eyes at anyone on this panel, although there's lots of news to roll our eyes about. But let's just jump right into the topic. I want to welcome the audience for coming in. Make sure you all are subscribed to our channel and definitely check out flynubianmoney.com. Definitely text the word Queens, QUEENS, to the number 87948. I am tongue-tied this morning. It's a lot going on, but we'll get there. 87948. That way you'll be notified when we do go live. Also, make sure you know that we are live on weekdays, Mondays through Fridays, right here at Fly Nubian Queen TV's YouTube channel. And we're live at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we're also on Spotify. Okay, we got that out the way. Let's get to the juicy stuff because there's so much I want to say. I'm like, What do you think about the latest news from the RNC? Let's go over to Lala. Have you been watching the Republican National?
Trash, and more trash. I am so sick of these people with their lies and their convictions of their lies. They are getting over on so many people. This is basically a cult. If you study cults, you will see that this is nothing but them doing the same thing that Manson's people's done, Ted Bundy's people's done. Once somebody grabs onto someone, you drink the Kool-Aid, okay? They have drank the orange Kool-Aid, so much so that they are willing to pretty much lay down and die for this man. That's exactly how I feel. There are so many people who just even cry at the drop of his name. So how is this serving our country? Because everything that they are speaking about, all the rhetoric, every last piece of rhetoric that they're doing with this Project 2025, everything. The people who are supporting them, telling me, they're the first people that they're going to throw out into the river and drown. So if you think that you're protected just because you support this man, I got news for you, baby. When Project 2025 kicks in, they ain't waiting for you to get no votes in. They're going to strip everybody of their power, give presidential power straight to Trump, and then all of your civil liberties will be taken away. I hope you're happy because you drunk the Kool-Aid and now you are going to have to suffer the consequences. And that's what I have to
say. Okay. Constance, what do you think about the latest news from the Republican National Convention?
I think it begs and we have a resident therapist here, but I think it begs to the question of the mental health of a lot of people in America. It's frightening the amount of mentally ill people I think that we have that Trump has brought out in droves. And I don't know if it's mental health. I don't know if their hatred for other races is so strong and so powerful that they lack basic understanding. They are so caught up. And you got to think about it. This is the result of having a Black president. Obama was president for 8 years. These people were pissed and it brought out the racists in droves. And then we have the orange orangutan. And when we and then, there was a lot of dog whistling going on. He was speaking to certain people's ideologies, and those people came out of the woodwork. And it was really frightening and confusing to see, like, all these people still think like that. I loved it back in the days when we didn't know how racist white people were. We knew they was racist, but we didn't know how much they hated us. And now they're very vocal in their hatred for us, because we had a Black president. It meant that your racism is over, and now we can really speak our truth to our power. And I think that's what it's done. But it's I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone. I really do. And these people are just really mentally ill.
Whew. Miss Athena, what's your take on this? Oh, you're muted, darling.
Well, what I took from it was basically what everyone has said, but what I see that the Republicans are doing is that they are united. Even if their mission is wrong, even if they're, definitely capitalizing off of the hate and frustrations of appealing to a certain base group in America, right? They're united in their messaging. And unfortunately, they're presenting more of a strength within their union in comparison to, especially to the Democratic Party. And I'm sure we're going to discuss all the things later on. The Democrats don't look united. The Democrats feel like they're scrambling last minute to try to figure out something. I think that the ball was dropped from the Democratic side of the party, and they're definitely, exploiting that, right? If Trump, like I said, can quote unquote survive a bullet or a shard or whatever that was, right? And Biden, they're questioning whether Biden can even win this term. Even if you were someone who was like, okay, I'm just going to vote Democratic, do you feel secure in the party's unity? That is what I think a lot of people are grappling with. Now, with the Republicans, I will say that it was that racism on 10 when I was watching some of that stuff, right? They're trying to appeal to Black people, and I just don't think that they do. I don't think they really are concerned with us as a group, either side, really. But at least they're united.
Thank you so much. Now, there are so many things happening. We are seeing former President Donald Trump's reaction to the alleged near assassination, Dr. Alicia. Our sister Constance Carter brought up some really great points about, the display of mental illness just really coming to the forefront during this election cycle. What do you think about the latest news from the Republican National Convention and these things as it pertains to mental health and wellness?
I'm glad you asked that question, but I want to just have a reaction to what I'm seeing from the RNC.
Yeah,
they do have cult-like characteristics. It's very cultish, and it is sad to see the backlash of the Barack Obama presidency. It's sad to see that, because I think for a lot of white Americans, particularly those who are working class, and it's particularly men who have just a public high school education, who haven't gone on for higher education, I think they feel that they have been sort of ignored. And that's the group of angry individuals who are really upset about this perception of a backlash. So what you see is an entire group of individuals who feel like now they're marginalized and they're on the outskirts. And what the Donald Trump presidency represents is a voice for people who feel like they don't have a voice. And so it's a lot of, I would say it's a lot of getting into their way of thinking. So it's saying we got these scary, undocumented individuals who are here to rape your women or sexually assault your women. We have this progressive movement toward DEI that's taking away jobs from you, right? We also have experiences where LGBT plus population are now having some advances in terms of equal opportunity. And so therefore they are going to force your children to become gay now, So it's these scare tactics that I think that the RNC is doing beautifully so, to focus on these social issues and making you scared by these things that, when you look at the information, there's really no fact, beyond that. I've talked about this a lot. Like, undocumented individuals, they are not posing a threat to anybody, and there's a system in place, and they should go through the system that's already in place. But these are scare tactics. But on the other end, working class white Americans are left behind by the policies that the RNC is promoting. So you have these social issues that they talk about all the time to kind of get the Republicans scared and nervous about this progressive issues that has no basis in reality, right? They're just creating this scare tactic to get people on these social issues, abortion and things like that. But when you look at their actual policies, it's against them. I recommend everybody to read this book called What's the Matter with Kansas? I can't remember the name of the guy, but I read this book, and it was just like, in Kansas, you had working class white Americans voting against themselves fiscally. They're voting for individuals who were pushing policies that was detrimental to their current economic situation, because individuals who were running for office were campaigning on these social issues that didn't make any difference. Thank you, Thomas Frank. Yes, didn't make any difference, but they were voting for what they felt. So what I'm saying is that I think we've all lost our ability to think critically and to understand. And what's going to happen after we now have this Obama backlash? We're probably going to get a Republican backlash, because we know in reality things are not going to change for white America, who are working class white America. We know things aren't going to change for them based on what the Republicans are promoting. So it's going to be yet another backlash from them. So I really do think we can diagnose groups of individuals with mental health issues, just like you can an actual person. You can diagnose systems. You can diagnose this whole country. Think about the trauma that this whole country was based on. And what do? You just give everybody a gun. The worst thing you could do is have a toxic society, because that's really what we're talking about. A toxic society that's being encouraged and promoted, and then you hand everybody a gun, and then you have no regulation about people with severe mental health issues just toting around pistols and weapons and all of this. So it is very schizophrenic right now. And I appreciate you asking me that question.
Absolutely. Thank you for responding with that thorough diagnosis. I mean, not diagnosis, analysis. Okay. Analysis. And you gave your general thoughts and reactions to that too. And, it's important that I also remember that, yes, you are a doctor of mental health, but you also have perspectives and opinions to put up first. I think, I usually want to go to what do you think? Expert Dr. Alicia. So yeah, I'll be mindful of that in the conversation, because there's a lot going on and it's impacting all of us, right? So if you're just tuning in, we are right here at Fly Nubian Money, and we are having this conversation during our daily panel time. Remember, we're here weekdays, Mondays through Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And today we're discussing Republican National Convention updates. There was another shooting incident we'll talk about. The current president, Joe Crime Bill Biden, was recently diagnosed with the Rona. All right. And just America's division right now in politics in general. Right. So we want to welcome you into the chat. And then also we want you to engage with us in the chat. We also invite you to text the word Queens, QUEENS, to the number 87948. That way you will be notified when we have these salacious, really, really deep, engaging conversations such as today, as well as, other special offers, special events, etc. You can stay in the loop and tap in with us. We also recommend or invite you to subscribe to our Spotify channel. You can get Fly Nubian Money on Spotify. All right, so next we are going to continue to move the conversation along because there's so many topics, but let's take a listen to what a black brother by the name of Van Jones, who's a political pundit, he's a pundit on CNN. He has some things to say about recent political presidential developments. So let's take a listen.
A bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden. You've got the nominees of this party getting their butts kissed. Biden's getting his butt kicked by his own party. The Democrats are coming apart. The Republicans are coming together.
Very interesting comments. It kind of reminds me of a point, that Athena also made about which party is unified, which one is disjointed. I want to ask the chat, what do you think about Van Jones's statement that he just made in that video clip? And then I also want to turn it over to get a reaction from our sister, Constance Carter. Oh, I think she may be frozen. So let's go to our sister, Lala.
Trash. Listen, y'all, I am a very objective person. I do want you to know that. It's just that when I see bullshit and I smell bullshit, I call bullshit for what it is. And my mother always taught me, if it walk like a duck and it quack like a duck, it's a duck. And he always shows his true side. Now, I'm not saying that, he doesn't have the right to his own opinion. But I do think that his opinion is incorrect. And what he's doing is feeding into the frenzy because he is a part of the ones who like to do the tap dancing for the higher ups. This is what I see. I don't necessarily see this as being a Democrat and Republican fight. What I see, people, is the have and the have-nots. And those who think they're being disserviced by not being allowed to be in the haves. But that's when their hatred of everything that they can't get becomes you, they. They don't give us this and we don't. Well, did you work for it? Did you earn it? No one is taking your jobs. Did you earn that job? Was that your job in the first place? So to me, Van is pandering to garbage. And every time he opens his mouth, it disgusts me because it's like he's tap dancing. And all I can see is the Mr. Bojangles dancing. And it drives me nuts. Same with Clarence Thomas. Same with Ben, whatever his name, Carson. So I just have a problem with people who go against their own interests other than, don't you have a Black mother? Don't you have a Black sister? I mean, you came from the Black community. So why aren't you putting their interest, the real interest and the true things that are happening in our communities to be the center part? I don't agree with him. Now, I do agree that the fact that the Democrats are not doing their job. You're not doing your job. You're splitting things at the wrong time. If you wanted Biden out, you should have done that last year. That's a last year move. Too late to do it now. You might as well just hand Trump the election at this point. So we're either going to move forward in unity or we're going to divide. But as we see, it's already happening, and it was happening in the Republican Party because you have the true MAGAs and you have the Republican Party that don't fall for that. But yet they still stood in line for this. So we're going to have to do what we have to do and is unify, whether we like it or not. And honestly, am I happy with either choice? Hell no.
Thank you, Constance. I wanted to get your reaction to the Van Jones comment. I just was just wondering, by the way, because, our sister Lala just ran down. She was like, don't you have, Van Jones, don't you have a Black, mom, et cetera, et cetera. But as our sister Athena would say, Van Jones's wife is a Wahite. So she I don't think she has much melanin at all. But either way, I just wanted your comments. I had to throw my petty, but I need your comments, Constance, on the Van Jones clip that we just watched.
I'm with him and I'm with Athena in terms of the Democratic Party falling apart at the seams. I do believe that they are not unified. I think it's common knowledge. But I also believe, just like Lala said, he has a responsibility. It's kind of like, you know, when being on code, or if something going on in our house, we ain't got to let everybody know. I think there could have been a different approach in terms of how he stated things to more unify the party and say, you know, these are some things that we missed, but this is how we can, you know, pull it together. Because at the end of the day, I was watching you guys the other day when I think Lene said, you know, I'm definitely a business owner, but I'm Black first. Right. So we got to look at ourselves. I'm a business owner and I benefit from some of the policies of the Republicans, but I'm Black first. And so I think he should have approached it, maybe framed it a little bit differently to more be inclusive, to unify the party. But I do believe that the Democrats don't look good right now. They just don't. The Republicans, they are on code. They are on topic. They look strong. They do. They look stronger than ever. Although we know it's all lies, they look strong as ever. And that fake assassination attempt, and I'm sorry, y'all, I don't subscribe to this fake assassination. You got to think about this. I know, you know, it's a conspiracy theory and all this, and people say, well, you know, someone got killed, right? Somebody got killed. Why would they kill somebody to... You know, James Earl Ray did not kill Martin Luther King. There was a lawsuit in 1989 that the King family won that said that there was another shooter and some people from the federal government that helped to assassinate Martin Luther King. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of that or not, but the play was that James Earl Ray killed Martin Luther King. For a bigger purpose, I believe that people will sacrifice anybody to get what they want. More has been done with less. So I think there needs to be more of a light shed on whether that was actually a real, because look at how it united their base. Look at how now you thought these motherfuckers was crazy already. Oh my God, they are absolutely nuts. And I believe that was something that they put together to kind of to rally their base even more. It's my opinion.
Thank you for that. Oh, I want to interject a couple updates really quickly about the investigation that's come out on the Secret Service. And then I do need to get to Dr. Alicia and Athena, but just to really make sure we don't miss anything. And shout out to the chat. We see your comments about Van Jones. We're going to continue to pop those up on the screen. Y'all have a lot of opinions about our brother Van Jones's comments. But just from what I've gotten over the last few days regarding the Secret Service investigation into they're calling it an attempted assassination. We can call it an alleged attempted assassination on former President Trump. We know that the Secret Service director is a woman, a white woman. There were many white women on President Trump's detail. And so, of course, people are trolling about that. The right, especially, they just felt like he was made vulnerable. There were videos and there were reports by local law enforcement that they did see the suspected shooter wandering around the premises as well as on the roof. And they called that in, but they were told to stand down and not respond. We also do know that the Secret Service director in her report or testimony, I guess you could call it, she said that they did not put a sniper on that roof because the roof was slanted and it was sloped. And I guess it would not have been, yes, ma'am. Yes, Dr. Alicia. She said that there were no Secret Service on the roof because it was slanted or it was a sloped roof. And so it just, I guess to her, it just didn't make sense or was unsafe. We also know that there were counter snipers that were literally positioned within the building that the shooter was on top of the roof. So the shooter's on top of the roof and there was a counter sniper team that was in the building downstairs at that time. So there are a lot of conspiracies going on, but I'm giving you, those are the updates from the Secret Service director. And so she's actually being branded as like a DEI hire. Of course, I see y'all faces, right? Lala is like, oh my gosh, right? They're calling her a DEI hire, and it was just like, that's what you get when you get a DEI hire. The other information that we do have before we proceed, and shout out to the chat. I'm gonna need y'all to hit the like button and share this this particular broadcast and know that you're tuned into Fly Nubian Money. The other thing that I want to say is the Secret Service and the government did receive intelligence. Allegedly, they said that they got intelligence from Iran that there was a assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. So they definitely got that information. And then hours before, I think up to 10 hours before, there was intelligence that there was a possibility of an assassination attempt on former President Trump's life. So all of this is coming out through these investigations, these very official investigations that are being led on the Secret Service. The FBI is involved, local law enforcement is involved, etc. But there are a lot of holes and missed opportunities to actually secure a former president of the United States. And everyone knows I called Donald J. Trump the Antichrist for years, and I still refer to him that way. But I also understand the implications of having an assassination attempt on a former U.S. president or a current U.S. president. It does no good for the country, especially not domestically and definitely not internationally, when this country, those white men in government, have made enemies out of a lot of people in the world. So I'm going to land it there, but I just wanted to give you all some updates, and I do apologize. I did not mean to, if it seems that I tried to derail the conversation. I just wanted to give y'all some updates because I want to make sure everyone gets enough time to talk. Thank you, Dr. Alicia. All right, so where were we? Woo! Chat, I see y'all. The chat is in here strong. Thank you all for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money. We're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We are joined today by Constance Carter, our sister Athena Gardner, Miss Lala Key, and Dr. Alicia Watkins, and we're having a very, very, very intelligent conversation on the current Republican National Convention updates. I believe this is day 3 or so of the Republican National Convention. There's another shooting incident. It was a shooting incident and some violent incidents that took place within the 1 mile radius of said convention, but it actually had nothing to do with any elected officials there or President Trump. I think the media is using that to say, see, this is why we got to be hard on crime, and then also President Joe Crime Bill Biden has been diagnosed with C-19. So yes, this is from an account that I do follow on Twitter. It says, breaking: Columbus police have shot a suspect about a mile away from the RNC in Milwaukee. Columbus police are in Milwaukee to help provide security for the convention. So that is, some of the news that came out about this, but apparently this was, I believe that there was an altercation happening between 2 men in the park, possibly homeless, and it actually had nothing to do with the RNC. But again, this is, what the media does, right? So let's delve a little bit deeper, Athena, into what Van Jones said before we move into some things around President Biden. So Athena, Van Jones said Biden's getting his butt kicked by his own party. What's your take on this?
I'm glad that you asked me, Jade. So when I look in the grand scope of everything, remember that there was a particular super PAC that was saying that they're going to withhold their money unless you guys replace the presidential candidate because they did not feel that Biden was sufficient enough to run, right? All of a sudden now, Biden has a COVID diagnosis and potentially needs to be sit down. So when I saw that information came out about Biden, I was like, this is my conspiracy theory hat now. So I'm going to admit this. Okay, this is my conspiracy theory hat on. But I'm like, okay, did they come up with, all right, we want him to sit down, but it can't look like he was making this decision or the party's making this decision. Let's COVID diagnosis. Let's make it seem like he was forced to resign or sit down. That was what immediately came to my mind. I mean, comment in the chat if you agree. Does that even make sense? Because all of a sudden you're sick now. All of a sudden, you can't. I mean, you've been struggling to get through these debates, but all of a sudden this is a whole diagnosis. What I will say is this: Biden's 81. We already had a panel discussion about age and elections and everything like that. The way the projections of the numbers are looking at the states that Trump seem to be able to claim or will be able to win. Right now, he is not winning in the polls. Right now, Biden is not looking like a candidate can win. So what I think might be happening is the Democrats are trying to hedge their bets potentially and put someone else in the race, maybe someone younger, maybe probably like a Wahite version of Barack Obama or something, somebody that we can get behind and push things forward. Now, who that person is, I don't know. Or in any case, maybe this is also a potential thing where, okay, we might lose, let it look like we didn't lose because, we just didn't have our stuff together, make it look like, there's something going on. But that's just my conspiracy theory hat thrown on in there.
Thank you so much for that insight. So I'm also looking at CNN in the background while you're speaking, Athena and Dr. Alicia. I'm coming to you next. I just learned that allegedly law enforcement lost sight of the shooter for 19 minutes. They lost sight of the shooter for 19 minutes after it was reported. And then also on Tuesday, we're just hearing that former President Trump met with the Secret Service director in Milwaukee already. And so they had a conversation. So those are some updates there. I know we're talking about the RNC. We're talking about all of this stuff because it's all breaking at the same time, folks. So we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So Dr. Alicia, former President Trump, they say he got shot in the ear, right? Grazed in the ear at a rally on Saturday. The next day, he was seen playing golf. He did not have a bandage on his ear. Then he shows up to the Republican National Convention with a big old bandage on his ear. He's been wearing it at the convention, right? And now we're seeing that, well, we definitely know for a fact that Trump will be speaking at the RNC tonight. So there's much anticipation about the speech. Exactly, right? We're not even a week after this traumatic event, Dr. Alicia. And we also have information that Trump has scheduled a rally just days after his assassination attempt. So there is another rally on the books that will be taking place after the RNC. I don't want to misstate the actual state that it'll be in. It might be Michigan, but I'm not sure. I forget which state because I consume a lot of information. Dr. Alicia, with all the things I just said, how do you feel about Trump scheduling a rally just days after an assassination attempt?
Oh, it is all about symbolism. Yeah, we know it grazed his ear, but that there is a symbol. And, we all respond to symbolism. So the thing is that I'm not going to let anybody keep me down. I'm going to go out and continue as planned. It's almost like a sign of strength. Again, it plays into this, it plays into a sign of strength. It's telling everybody or his followers that you can't stop me. There is nothing that's going to happen to stop me. That now is it's unity. It's letting everybody know that that there's strength. Like I'm a bandaged up, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. That is so galvanized. That's exciting. I mean, I'm getting into the mindset of the people who are really, really affected by it and geared up with it. Yes, look at that. That is like, it's almost like the perfect thing. And I think what the Democrats are looking at this, scratching their head going, dang it, we are down in the polls. What are we going to do about this? Maybe, who knows? Listen, okay. I was talking to Boyce about this. Part of us have to live into this world of conspiracy theories, right? Where, we're starting to become very cynical because we're losing our trust in the government, and all this is coming out about, the conspiracy, like straight up conspiracy. So we know that's there. We have one foot in this conspiracy, but then we have another foot into what we're the mundane, like what we're seeing every day. And so we have to decide how much we want to live in one versus the other, right? And what happens is that we get, you can never eliminate the possibility of a Manchurian candidate situation happening where they're programming people to do these things. And I live on the conspiracy theory internet, and I live on it. And I know 19 minutes, I'm sure there's some occult reasons why 19 is so important. And I dig right on into it. But at the end of it, I really have to, in this world, and right now, I have to proceed because I am a social worker. I believe in social justice and eliminating inequality and giving a voice to the voiceless. and people who have been oppressed and marginalized. At the end of the day, that's where I am. I'm a social worker. I'm a therapist. I'm all about empathy, compassion, all of these things. So I have to lean on my training and my background, but I also have to understand, you know, how cynical I am. I'll probably vote for the election and go watch a movie somewhere. I don't know. It all just seems theatrical, right? Y'all been watching House of the Dragon. I just kind of feel like Biden represents the king that's on his deathbed, that not to wish that on anybody, but like, you could see the king, he's wise, right? He understands dynamic because he's been playing the game for a long time, but we can see there's this new thrust coming after him. And we can see, if y'all watch House of the Dragon, you know the fallout that happens after the king. The king is whispering these cryptic messages and it all gets messed up. It's worthwhile to examine because movies and TV, it's a reflection of us, and what happens, who is going to be the new person in charge and what that's going to look like, and how are the people behind the scenes going to spin it to make sure that they get their political. It's a beautiful illustration of a lot of things that are happening right now. Even the movie Manchurian Candidate, y'all look at that movie, right? It's based on something.
Dr. Alicia, I liken it more to Saturday Night Live. I feel like we're living in a satire, and this is no fun. This is not, or the Twilight Zone, one or the other. But I love the fact that you're so optimistic and positive. You're like, this is just a drama, and this is the king. No, this is a joke. These are jesters. These are clowns that are running the country, and it is weakening our superpower. And people from other countries are looking, and they are laughing at us.
I agree with you.
Joke.
It really is. It really. Thank you for jumping in. I like that. I like this kind of conversational thing a little better. Yeah. But that's my whole thing. Yes. Thank you, Constance, for jumping in. But yeah, it is really, you do in your mind, you got to say, okay, this is real life. You know what I mean? This ain't a TV, but it's showing up as theatrics. And we're just watching people. And the problem is that we are losing critical thinking skills. It is a loss. It is lost. I teach at a university. I can tell you we are losing critical thinking skills. That's a whole nother conversation.
Do you think it has always been like this, or did the pandemic make it worse? Because I just feel like, I don't know, after the pandemic,
Trump made it worse. Trump. I know you're thinking, everybody got this damn COVID shot. Now everybody crazy. No, they've been crazy. Yeah, you don't remember the crazy when after Obama? That's what made these people lose their mind.
The Tea Party. Remember the Tea Party, y'all? They came to.
I totally agree with Candace. It's all a fallout from Obama. And people are saying that, people just freaked out that we even had him out. And so now you're not going to see another Black president for a very long time. So the fact that people are throwing out Kamala, hold your horses. They already mad about Obama, but now you're going to say a Black woman? Nobody, no, honey, they're not ready. They're not ready. And if you look at the succession, and this is why so many people are freaking out. You've got Biden. If Biden does win, who is our step down? It is Kamala. Who is behind her, y'all? Hakeem. 2 Black people? No, America ain't ready. America's
so maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we just need to vote in Biden, and then when he fall down,
I should have but that is a lot of people's thinking, and that's, you say that jokingly, but you're right that a lot of people are seeing that and they're like, oh my God, I don't know if we're ready for that. So America still is sick with racism, and we are living on the fact that white people always want everything that we got except struggle, and when we do have something, they want to take it from us immediately. I'm a living witness to that, okay? If they can't peg you to do what they want you to do, then they're going to try to strip it from you in any way possible. All you got to do is go down and look at the history. Why do you think that they're trying to change the history books? Why do you think that they're getting rid of DEI? This is so much bigger than Trump and so much bigger than Biden. This is all about control. We want what you got, and we're going to take it.
I need to add to that, and
Yes.
I know you want to continue the conversation, but I just got to add to that. I think the people in power are playing a very different game than the regular, everyday, common white folks. For the people in power, it's simply about power. They don't give a fuck about your race or anything like that. They want to stay in power. Everybody here. So remember, Lyndon B. Johnson said, if I could take the lowest white man and convince him that he's better than the best black man, he won't even know you're picking his pockets. In fact, give him somebody to look down on. He'll give you everything he owns, right? So if I can put these people down here, pit them against each other, I'm taking this white guy who ain't got shit, but he think he better than the best black man, right? And I could pit them together. I'm stealing from everybody, and I'm staying in power. That's their agenda. These ignorant motherfuckers, they down here, they're fighting with each other because what? They are afraid of the darkening of America. These people are deathly afraid of the browning of America. And they are afraid that they're going to lose their white power, white privilege. The everyday people are afraid that they're going to lose their white power, white privilege. People, the powers that be, are afraid they're going to lose their power. So they rally their base with this dog whistling to keep these people confused because they're already crazy and they care more about white supremacy than they care about their basic necessities. So they listen to that because they, this, like you said, America is sick with racism. This has been ingrained in the fabric of our country for the last 400 years. This country was built on systematic racism. And so that's just been ingrained. There's a sickness. So that's what it's about for these people in power. About power. For everybody, all these other people, it's about race.
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry, but I have to bring up the fact that this is a very important thing that we're going to be talking about as well. Is Lioness, I love when you come in. You always give us great comments, but I have to address what you're saying. You're saying that Kamala is not Black and neither is Amber Rose.
That's me. Yeah, I'm Lioness.
That goes to show you how much
that's me. Yeah, that's me.
Let me say this. This is another way to divide people. Do you understand? Do you know how many people tell me I'm not Black, I'm not white? Listen, I have no control of what my parents did to me. Okay, so it doesn't matter to me. In those cases, you're blaming people that don't have a say in the matter, but the white people only use this when it's to their advantage. When you say the first Black president, okay, what do white people say? No, he's mixed. Okay, well, didn't you invent the damn one drop rule? Make up your mind. So I think we also have to get out of that in our culture. Because
what I was referring to, Amber Rose definitely says she's not Black. She identifies as biracial, right? I mean, that's her, that's her identity situation. Now, when I'm saying that Vice President Kamala Harris is not Black, I'm not saying that she doesn't have melanin or she doesn't have a parent from African descent, because I know her father's Jamaican, but she's not a Black American. Like, she's not traditionally indigenous to America and what it means to be Black American in America. And so what happens is a lot of folks who are melanated or recently immigrated over or whatever, not to say that they're not a part of our community, but to be a Black American woman culturally and in terms of ethnicity is a very, very specific experience. So that's what I meant when I said that.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that Kamala Harris is not Black.
I would agree with that statement as well.
Huh?
I would agree with that statement as well, as a Black immigrant and a Jamaican woman.
Right. And also, listen, Amber Rose, and we were going to put her on the Summer Jam screen as well. And I think we should have enough time to do that after this next clip. Amber Rose went to the RNC. She was invited to speak at the Republican National Convention. She had many things to say. I know her father was in the crowd. I know her father is a veteran, so she definitely gave him a lot of praise. But then after that, she's been getting a lot of backlash because they brought Amber Rose to the RNC as like a token Negro, right? As a Black woman. And she's notorious for saying that she's not a Black woman, right? So this is Amber Rose responding to Joy Reid. Hey, Joy Reid, I've never said I wasn't Black. I say I identify as biracial. I'm not going to I guess, invalidate my white father to make you feel more comfortable. Stop being a race baiter. Your president does enough race baiting for all of us. So this is really interesting. So I guess she's saying that she's saying that she never said that she wasn't Black, but we have videos and receipts over the years of her saying that she's not Black, right? Her father's white and her mother is from Cape Verde, right? Again, a melanated African woman of African descent, but not a Black American, as is, you know, someone like myself who is indigenous on all four sides of her family tree to this country. And shout out to our biracial brothers and sisters. That's not to say that if you're biracial, you ain't Black. That's not what I meant to say. So I want to clear that up as well. Oh, we do have a video of Amber saying that she's not Black. So let's go ahead and play that.
Black. Do you think like a mixed race person, right?
Right.
However, I think culturally in America, you're considered Black. Do you think that's how people perceive you, and is that how you perceive yourself?
I do not consider myself a Black woman. Absolutely not.
What do you consider yourself?
Biracial.
It's the absolutely not for me. It was the absolutely not. I know Constance wants to go off. Constance, go off.
No, I don't want to go off. I don't want to go off. But let me tell you something. A few years ago, I was sharing with a friend that I used to daydream about fighting, right? And she was like, that's not normal. And I'm like, everybody doesn't daydream about fighting? And she said, no. I said, I used to walk around daydreaming about fighting. And she was like, that's not normal. So then I asked other friends, like, do you like daydream about fighting, or did you ever? And they were like, no, that's not normal. I did. So when I saw, that's exactly what I wanted to do when I saw that video. I just wanted to punch her in the face. That's it. That's all I got to say to that.
Noted. Thank you. Shout out to the chat. I see the comments are coming in hot and heavy. Y'all keep it coming. Keep those comments coming. We're tapped in right now at Fly Nubian Money. This is why y'all need to sign up for our text messages. Text the word Queens to 87948. That's 87948. You'll be notified when we do go live. You never know who's on the panel, what the topic's going to be. So you need to stay in a loop, right? Because we have the likes of Athena Gardner and Constance Carter and Dr. Alicia Watkins and our sister Lala Key and myself and all the other queens on the network. And we have a variety of life experiences and perspectives. And we bring a level of intelligence, right, and sophistication, and maybe some sophisticated ratchetness also to some of these trending topics. So y'all make sure y'all definitely also subscribe to our channel over on Spotify and check us out. All right, so listen, we have another video, and we're just going to play that video. We're going to comment on it, and yeah, talking about all the things today. We're talking about, Biden possibly stepping down. They're trying to say right now that we may be getting a update as early as this weekend about him possibly stepping down. The Democrats are not saying a way that he can win this election. Yesterday was a very interesting day. Early in the day yesterday, Biden said that he would not step down unless there was some type of medical diagnosis. This literally came out. Y'all can Google and fact check me on this. He would not step down unless that there's a diagnosis, right? Then hours later in the afternoon, Biden was diagnosed with the Rona, right? And
I told y'all.
Yeah.
I told you what's planned. I told you what's planned for it to look like that. For him to say that and then hours later, all of a sudden it was planned.
Absolutely. So we have many things to discuss before we get up out of here. Thank you for that, Athena. I concur, sis. You can never put things past these wahites, as you like to say. We're going to play this video right quick.
From the Republican Party. Our message to Black Americans is this. The media has tried to convince you for decades that Republicans don't care about your communities, but we do. We want for you what we want for every American. Safe neighborhoods, clean streets, good jobs, a better life for your children, and a justice system that treats everyone equally, regardless of your skin color and regardless of your political beliefs.
First of all, Ramaswamy, don't wave your finger or wag your finger at Black folks. That's what I want to say. But I'm going to throw it over to our sister Lala. I would like for you to go off, sis.
He thinks he's Wahite. And that's the problem. He thinks that he's in the group. He's in the good old boy. He doesn't know that he's voting against his own interest. And sir, you don't get to talk to our community. I need you to bring the receipts, sir. Bring them. Because everything that you just said, I care for you. We care. Okay, then you wouldn't be voting against our best interest. You wouldn't be letting our children not get their education. You wouldn't be taking out DEI. You wouldn't be taking out food for the children who need to go to school. You don't care anything about us. So you, out of all people, I can't even believe they had the caucasity to let you talk to us. When you got reamed, when you was trying to run, you're just trying to make sure you're secure in a spot in your little global world of Trumpism. But you have no receipts whatsoever telling us that the Republican Party even cares for us. I don't understand how people who support this rhetoric can actually justify that they are shooting themselves in their own feet. This was not the man. Those were nothing but lies, because I have the proof to show that they were all lies. But that's what they do. They put it all under one umbrella to make it look like they care, when actuality, their actions behind what they're doing speak full truth.
Thank you for that. I just want to make this point before I throw it over to, we're going to get into finances. So we're going to talk to Athena and definitely to Constance Carter about the financial implications on this. And we're going to kind of, start to wind down. But before I do so, Dr. Alicia, I just want to point out that the Republicans or conservatives have very, very strong comments about immigrant communities. But Donald Trump Jr.'s fiance is a Latina. So that, she's an immigrant as well. So is Vivek, of course, he's on like Trump's team. What else? Who else? The new vice president pick, JD Vance, his wife is from India, and Donald J. Trump's wife is from Slovakia or Slovenia or somewhere in Eastern Europe. So I just wanted to sort of, and I know you have a Black job, Dr. Alicia, you have a Black husband, but you've talked a lot about, or some about, the question of immigration and how immigration has been used to like further divide people. What are your thoughts on the fact that many Republicans are pushing out this anti-immigrant or illegal rhetoric, but many of them, especially these white men in positions of power within the party, are married to immigrants?
Yeah, it's the bolden contradictions in what they're saying, and they don't care. No one else is calling them on it. Again, the lack of critical thinking skills that I'm seeing happening. These sanctuary cities, y'all can look it up. I'm talking facts. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at listen, we need to have a separation between your opinion and facts. Like, you are entitled to your opinion, and some of them are based on just how you feel. Some of them are based on facts, but you're not entitled to make up your own facts. And the facts are the sanctuary cities have not seen an increase in crime since the undocumented individuals have come into their cities. Now, that doesn't mean that there's issues that's happening there, right? There's some things that need to be addressed, right? So we have to separate facts from just logic and what you would think. And as a scientist, you always need to check. You make these out. You see, you can't rely on just your observation, right? Because it's biased. And so you want to go and there are people who are paid to just run the numbers. Now, I know just because people run the numbers doesn't mean it's not up for scrutiny, but you need to rely on something, right, to guide your opinions. And I just think that I don't see enough of that happening. And it's really frustrating for me as a social worker to look at it that way. But the fact is, and I love what Constance Carter brought up, population growth for white people are saying is the zero. There's the number of white Caucasians who die equals the number of Caucasians born. But the reality is that 60% of babies born in America are non-white. And that is a threat. These are facts, right? So we can look at that. And I want to say one more thing about money. Well, before we get into money, I want to say one more thing. I think it's a brilliant idea what they're doing with Biden, President Biden right now, is that you have to, if a president is going to step down, you have to do it in a way where he can save face. He's dedicated his entire career to politics, his entire life. Maybe it's like, you know what could possibly be a great avenue for him to come out of this election and save face and still keep the Democratic Party strong, and they've alluded to some of these things, right? So if we know that we're down in polls, Democrats are down in polls, and we know there's no way President Biden can beat Trump, what's a beautiful way for him to step down in a way that makes sense? And, it could be, okay, let's just lay out this story, this path, and then we're going to push this narrative so that he can still be honored as a respectable person, but then we can put someone else in place. Who knows what it is? We'll see what happens, but that's my prediction. But anyway, I'll let you go ahead and talk about money. And if we have to go past the hour, I can stay on. So
can I add to that, Dr. Alicia, when you talk about these white men with these Black women, just real quick, historically, if you remember Strom Thurmond, y'all remember him, the great segregationalist, was against integration. He wanted to keep segregation, but he had a Black mistress, Black baby. Same thing.
Contradictions. Yeah.
Thank you. Athena, sis, we have to do this right quick. And I think the chat will appreciate what we're about to do. And then after this video, we're going to go straight to Athena. We're going to put up a video of Candace Owens because she has some things to say. We're going to weigh in on that. And then we're also going to talk about financial implications of this whole catastrophe and chaos. And as we're doing that, you're tuned in to Fly Nubian Queen right here. This is our Fly Nubian Money panel. We're here weekdays at 1 p.m.
And let me tell you, they get there days before. Let me tell you how a security apparatus is supposed to run. Days before, they get in and they look at every possible angle in which somebody could hurt the president. Okay. And I'm not even talking about once you get to the Secret Service. I'm talking about if you just have security in general, before you speak, they will go, okay, this is the stage. Okay, let me tell you, that right there is a problem. They'll mark that as a spot. That right there is a problem. That part, we need to know who this person is. They'll knock on doors. Okay. They got to figure out every possible angle that any individual could potentially get on a roof, because you know what? This has happened in the past. People have been shot from roofs. People have been shot from windows. There is a 0% chance that some random person with a rifle was able to scale a roof, unless there was just an unbelievable failure in intelligence. And you want to know why it's unbelievable? Because I don't effing believe it. I don't believe it. I want the names of the Secret Service agents that allowed this remarkable security failure to go down. Because I don't believe this. I'm done with this. I don't believe this, not for 1 second. Having been around the president, having literally almost watched my husband get shot because he came down the wrong set of stairs at the NRA, screaming at him. And I jump in front of someone like, don't shoot him. That's my husband. And you're telling me they knew he was going to speak and they weren't worried about the roofs?
Well, Athena, I think, broken clock is right at least twice a day, right? What are your thoughts on what Candace Owens had to say?
One thing I do like about Candace Owens, whether or not, I don't agree with everything that she says. Let me put that out there first. I don't agree with everything that she says, but she stands on what it is that she's saying. And she poses some valid points. Like when you have a presidential run and his security detail, especially a former president, those are things that should be checked. Now, I did remember seeing this somewhere, but I don't remember the source. I can't quote it, but they said that there was some kind of concern or check about a roof, but they looked over that or something happened with that. Back to my conspiracy theory hat. I think that the shooter, I don't know. I feel like he's a plan somehow. I don't know where he came from. Feel like he was a fall guy for something, because how are you gonna shoot someone in the audience and other people, but you just so happen to just hit like a shard of glass that would hit up the president? Why you missed him? but you didn't miss elsewhere, you know? So
I know he had a scope on that rifle, right? He had a scope on the rifle, but he just so happened to shoot something in the shard of glass. You know, and if I could add to that, like Candace Owens, she's saying the DEI Secret Service missed it. I say your boy was in on it. And those were instructions that he was in on, that he probably gave to make it happen. I don't believe the Secret Service dropped the ball. I believe he knew what was going to happen. It's made him a hero. This rallied their base. The RNC is likened to me, I'm saying all the momentum. It feels like Obama DNC 2008. They had all this momentum and everybody, you know, that's what the momentum feels like to me.
So if Biden falls down in like a similar attempt, do you think that would unify him and galvanize the Democratic base?
No, because they're not.
Because I live in Palm Beach, and all these Trump people. Listen, I've never seen this. Even when Obama was in president, like I see trucks with flags driving around, people with their signs up for Trump. You know, having their whole parades around here. I'm just like,
they're knucking futz.
This is very interesting. Yeah, so I think Candace was making some great points in that video, right? Now, Athena, I want to ask you a follow-up question. How do government actions, like these government actions, all of this controversy regarding who's about to be the next president, who might step down, who might step up, how do you think this is going to affect our economy?
Well, I think it's going to make our economy, it doesn't stabilize it, right? Our economy is kind of shaky already as is, with inflation, with job concerns, there's a lot of layoffs. Today, Microsoft just let go of a whole DEI program. So our economy is unstable as is. Now, with the election chaos, people are more frantic, people are more scared, people are more anxious. People, and we can see that in the markets, things are going to be more volatile, right? My concern is, especially after that whole Project 2025 initiative and with Donald Trump projected to win, is that it seems like there's going to be like a economic catastrophe for certain groups of people within this country. Basically, if you're not a white male Wahite, you are going to be negatively impacted should that initiative take fold. Now, personally, I believe elements of that initiative is going to happen regardless of whoever is sitting on that seat, but definitely if it's Donald Trump. But we already have, surprisingly, especially when you look from an economic standpoint, unemployment rates actually is kind of stable, right? But with the initiatives to take away certain DEI initiatives, equal opportunity, it's not going to be the same for our group, our marginalized groups, and women's rights and issues. So the economy is going to get worse for basically anyone who is not a white male.
Thank you so much. And Constance, I would love for you to weigh in on it as well. And then if y'all want to ping pong off each other, because I want us to make sure we leave here. This is Fly Nubian Money. You're tuned into Fly Nubian Money. Let me say that. You are tuned into Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. So let's talk about those implications there. And I would love to hear about, I know we talked about the economy. Let's talk about the crypto market. How could these things possibly affect the crypto market, the housing market, etc.? What do our people, our audience need to know?
I feel like people are hurting right now. Even with the unemployment being stabilized, inflation is at an all-time high. Interest rates haven't curbed inflation. Interest rates are high. It's harder for people to get into homes. And so people are looking at that and they're thinking, well, at least under Trump, this is the illusion. My interest rate was 2%. Now it's 7%. And look at what's happening to my bottom line. And so, that one. And then the other thing for Black people is I'm seeing Biden saying, if I'm elected, I'm going to do this for Black people and do that for Black people. And it's like, yo, you're the president right now. Prove it. Do it now. Why aren't you trying to implement anything right now? Or how come you haven't done anything in the past 4 years? And so Black people are getting tired, and we're seeing, but it goes back to, and I was just having this debate with my son, because my son, he's hearing the sound bites about, money in the pocket in Trump. And I'm like, Negro. But we got to look at policy over president. We got to look like, I don't feel like the presidents don't have the ultimate. Presidents don't have the ultimate power. You know, we have Congress and all these entities or these that pass bills and pass laws, things like that. So Trump has used his veto power more than any other president. Biden, I think he's more of a diplomatic. He knows politics, and the people, the person or the people who are influencing Trump, because Trump don't know shit about politics. My son is like, well, he knows business. He's a failed businessman. He actually, you know, he got his business start from, you know, an inheritance from his father. And we know how many times he filed bankruptcy, and we know all the people who have been gypped as a result of dealing with Donald Trump. However, you know, the people who have the most influence, his vice president, you know, Project 2025, those things are really scary because he don't know shit about politics. He knows the one thing that he knows is that he wants to put more money in people's pockets like him. And he's going to do whatever other law or what you got to say. I don't really know. Okay, I'm gonna defer to you, and I'm gonna go ahead and make my decisions based on whoever's loudest in my ear. I don't think he really has the wherewithal. He talks like elementary, like he's in elementary school, the intellect of a elementary school person. So he really doesn't understand how to run the country. He knows what he wants for his bottom line, and I think that's very dangerous. So, you know, like I mentioned before, last election I voted for neither. I left it blank. Because I didn't believe in either candidate. But I got to look at shit. A vote not for Biden is a vote for Trump, is a vote for Project 2025, is a vote for, you know, these DEI initiatives to be taken away from us. And do we really want that? Yeah, Biden didn't look at reparations, and we got nothing. We were the ones that put him in office. And the first, there was a post on Instagram. You know how Microsoft had laid off their whole DEI division, and someone on the post said, I work for Microsoft and they automatically put me in this DEI division. I didn't even ask for it. And the first thing they're talking about is Asian hate. Fuck is Asian hate? We've had 400 years of oppression, of systematic racism, of discrimination, of Jim Crow, and the first thing you want to talk about is fucking Asian hate. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to alienate anybody, or I'm not trying to discriminate against anybody, but come on now, we didn't put you in office, and this is what the hell you talk about. And that's one of the issues that I think we have as Black people, is we let everybody in on our civil rights that were given to us. Now we got to share with, every women, we got to share with LGBT, we got to share. Now we're people of color. Now we got to add Black and brown. We got to be so politically correct to add everybody in that it just waters down what we fought so hard for. And that's what I think is a real problem. So I know I went all over the place, around the world, and however, these are all the things that are on my mind with regards to everything that we got to consider when we're looking at this election cycle.
Thank you so much for that. And also, listening, ladies, the chat is lit. We're going to wind this down because we do want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know I can go over for a couple minutes, but I also literally have to send a text message out to 4,000 voters. So that's going to take me a minute when we get off of this. So shout out to the chat. You're tuned into Fly Nubian Money. We're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to put some of the comments up from the chat. And as we do that, I want to kick it over to Lala, because we did have a graphic that was put up about Teddy Roosevelt, and it goes along, it mirrors the attempted Trump assassination, and we would love for you to explain that to the audience.
Okay, so what you're seeing on this graphic is Teddy Roosevelt, and he's actually looked at as, people love him and adore him, and they always bring him up. They bring up all these older presidents, and he is one that they see as a savior. So anything that they do about Trump, they always try to do their best to put him in that kind of light. They try to compare him to previous presidents in the past, so that it looks like he's the godlike, the savior of the party. Now, what you're seeing here is, when Donald Trump got up from the attempted assassination, I'm still refraining from saying that because I want more facts to come out. As we can see, more facts are coming out. So I'm not going to be knee-jerk reaction. He jumped up and he was saying, fight, fight, fight. Well, this isn't nothing new. Babies, if you just got shot at, would you be getting up hollering about fight, fight, fight? This man took this directly from Roosevelt when he was out doing the same thing on his platform. So this is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. I also want to remind you that Trump also sleeps with Hitler's playbook right beside his bed, and it has been noted that that is the truth. That is not a rumor. His wife and other people have actually said that. So you need to know your history before you move forward. The problem is most people nowadays are sheeple. I call them sheeple. Instead of taking the time to go and do your research on your own, you just want to believe what other people are saying. So everything that Trump is doing has been done. And it's been done like it's a godlike movement. When you look back on it and you see that none of that is godlike, that is actually pretty evil. And that's what I have to say about that. And I know people are going to disagree with me. You have a right to disagree with me, but show me receipts because I've got them for you. And these are the receipts. This is the same thing. And then once again, look at it. Ronald Reagan. I mean, you know, anything that they can do to make him look like he is the next God, which don't get me on the biblical part of all this, they're going to do. So, hey, I'm sorry, but if I just got shot at, I wouldn't be worried about my shoes.
Girl, that's what I'm saying.
And I wouldn't be worried about
photo ops.
I wouldn't be worried about pumping my fist neither. I'd be
No,
like, get the hell out of here.
You looking for more bullets. You don't know what's going on, but you just gonna get up and come on now. You know
Yeah,
that.
I had this conversation.
By the way, with the shoes, he's come out with more shoes, y'all, with him pumping his fist.
Yeah, I had this conversation with Dr. Alicia and Dr. Boyce right on the day, like maybe an hour, a couple hours after the assassination attempt. And we definitely did talk about people's response to trauma. And I was saying that I don't think Trump's reaction to that was normal. So, Dr. Alicia, feel free to weigh in on that again if you want to. But also, Dr. Alicia, I know we have some clips of people who are at the RNC, and earlier we asked the chat, and I think we can put up the photo of people at the RNC with bandages on their ears to be in solidarity with Donald Trump. Literally, to me, it's giving cult. It's giving cult-like, it's giving mental illness, it's giving a lot of things. So, Dr. Alicia, if you have anything you like to weigh in on from a mental health perspective, please do so.
I want to weigh in on money because I'm coming from the perspective of a social worker, right? And as a social worker, we spend a lot of our time studying and looking at why poor people are poor, right? So I just want to put that out there. That's where I'm coming from right now. And I think that we really do live in a society that I think demonizes people who are poor, just to add to that conversation. And I get into debates with people a lot of times because poor people don't even know, poor people receive less than 1% of the US budget goes to people who are in need, which is usually mothers and children, right? So if you are anti-abortion, you want to have pro-life, to me, the contradictory is, okay, well, why don't you look at the reasons why a woman would want to end her pregnancy? Some of it is economic. A lot of it is economic. Why don't you address affordable health care? How about address affordable childcare? How about address making food more affordable? Like, it's economics. And to me, that's the hypocrisy of it all. Okay, so, let's not focus on abortion. Let's focus on the conditions that we know that play in part of making sure people are aware of reproductive planning. All of these things I think is important. And the hypocrisy of it, these are facts, is that corporations, they get handouts far greater amounts than any poor woman on welfare, a mom on welfare. And I think they stigmatize individuals who are in need, and they don't stigmatize corporations, because the idea here, and we know it's not true, that giving corporations money, there's going to be this trickle down economic growth, this job creation, and all of these things in theory. And it never gets to the average worker. And so I just think that, that's a big difference there. The bias that we have in public discourse and recognizing, critical supports that economically disadvantaged populations really need. And so that's, as a social worker, I advocate for all of that. Balanced budget, of course, but equitable resource allocations, that's my position as a professional social worker. And I have to talk from that position. So,
yeah, because they have money for wars that we're not even fighting. Student loan that can't be erased. Nothing that can actually help us can ever get addressed.
Like Tupac said, they got money for wars but can't feed the poor. Right? So we're gonna look at a few comments and then we're gonna wind down. The chat has been lit, ladies. I don't know if y'all been keeping up with the chat, but there's a lot a lot of comments. You all have a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts about what we're seeing. Earlier on, I asked the question, do you believe that the folks at the RNC are kind of deifying Trump? Or, are you seeing cultist behavior? A lot of people say yes. There were some comments in the chat around Project 2020, 2025, just many things. And listen, we know that these people understand how to pander to Black folks, especially Black folks that like sneakers. Is it not disrespectful? Constance, what do you think about those shoes?
I'm saying this is Saturday Night Live, y'all. This cannot be real. This can't be life, y'all. And people are eating this shit up. It is so crazy. Like, do we not have any people with any brain cells anymore? It's crazy.
Listen,
it's the ghetto Rocky.
Right. Y'all ever watch Black Mirror?
Yes, it's Black Mirror.
It's like a Black Mirror episode. I mean, if y'all haven't seen Black Mirror, I mean, there are several seasons of it, and each episode is its own short film.
It's like the Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And this is where we are right now. And also, I just wanted to give you all some breaking news. Vice President Harris is responding to JD Vance's VP nomination. So she's actually at a rally right now, or a speaking engagement in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And she is speaking, and she is, having a conversation about pressing forward with the campaign. So according to her, she says the GOP plans are, quote, extreme and they are divisive. And so we do know that, okay, the Biden campaign is back on the mission. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that after the assassination attempt on former President Trump's life, the Democrats suspended all of their campaign ads for days. I guess they're restarting it because we do see the VP out. She's giving a stump speech. So let's just be very, very clear that they paused all of their ads for days at a time. And there was a lot of controversy around that. Like people were saying that they should not have paused their ads. So we shall see what happens by this weekend. There are rumors circulating that some higher ups within the Democratic Party do believe that President Biden will be dropping out of the race as soon as this weekend. More donors have come forward this week during the RNC, and they said that they don't see that he has a path to victory. They will not be donating. We also know that former President Trump has gotten the endorsement of Elon Musk. Not only the endorsement of Elon Musk, but Elon Musk has pledged $45 million per month to the Trump campaign. Let me repeat that.
But yet he wants you to pay if you want to stream after he announced that, y'all. After he announced that, everybody who wants to stream on their platform now has to pay premium. That man will never get a dime from me. I will leave Twitter. Yes, Twitter, because I'm not calling it X. It's ridiculous. Now he's even thinking about putting the name back to Twitter. No, you're not getting my funds for that. So just know that if you're supporting that, you're supporting him and Trump. Know it.
And don't buy Teslas.
Yes. $45 million a month, Athena and Constance and Dr. Alicia and Lala, that's a lot of money. And remember, last week, we had a panel right here in Fly Nubian Money, because we're here weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We had a conversation and we were talking about how the biggest super PAC that donates to the Biden campaign and to the Democrats, they paused. They said that they were freezing $90 million. So while the Trump campaign is losing money, we see that money is just pouring into the Trump campaign. So there we have it. Let's go to closing thoughts. We'll just go to some final words. I know we went over time, but shout out to y'all for tuning in to Fly Nubian Money. Let's go to Athena. What are your final takeaways and where can we find you?
Okay, so final takeaways are this. I don't want our audience to be stressed out in a frenzy, running amok over what seems to be a circus of an election period. Right now is the time to get focused on you, yourself, and your goals. And to, like I've always said on this platform since we've been talking about elections, to vote on the policies because the candidates are really crazy right now. Also, I also want to get to the audience that even though we are in kind of like the financial Hunger Games and the political Hunger Games, that tuning in to Fly Nubian Money Monday through Friday to make sure that you stay abreast of, trending information is going to be important. And also on my own personal YouTube channel, I do give financial commentary on how to survive this whole chaos. My name is Athena Gardner. I am a CPA and wealth coach. I am the founder of We Wealth Women. You can find all the information on me, my social media, my podcast, my website at bio.site/We Wealth Women, and I will have all that for you guys. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. Dr. Alicia?
Okay, so my parting words will be related to mental health. Everybody who has tuned in to us today, it is now time to turn your TV off and take a break from what's going on in the world. Limit your consumption of all of the drama going on during this political season. And I say that to everybody, even my own family members who are getting caught up in the frenzy of what's next. And I think that we just need to think about that in terms of our mental health, and know that there's certain things we can control and there's certain things we can't control. We're like fish in the water. Not being interested in politics is a fish not being interested in water. It's what we breathe, and I understand the importance of it, but you need to take a mental break from all of these things. We can't control what the Republican RNC is doing next. We can't be in control of what even the Democratic Party is doing next, but we can control what we're doing and how much of this news information we consume, okay? Because we can just lose focus on what's important and get caught up into the emotions of it, and that's how you become manipulated. Anyway, I am Dr. Alicia. You can reach out to me by going to my website, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. I work with individuals and I will also work with couples. Follow me on Instagram, Coaching with Dr. Alicia on Instagram.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from Lala.
My words for you are this. Don't let the smoke and mirrors keep you in the dark, because there is a lot. This is like, heavy metal smoke and mirrors. They come on and do all them fire pyrotechnics. They're trying to keep you off your guard. They're trying to keep you in your emotions. They're trying to keep you angry. But what you need to do is to get educated and to really understand that this is not just a presidential race. This is at your local level. You need to be making sure that you're looking at the dog jailer. You need to be looking at the librarian. You need to look at the judges that you're voting in. You need to really understand every part of the aspect that affects your community. So don't just get so caught up on what the top is giving you. You need to get down and dirty in the dirt and do the actions within yourself, within your home, within your street, within your community, and really understand who's behind all of this movement so that you can make your communities better. There was a reason they didn't want the Black Panther Party around. They focused on our communities. This is what we need to do better for our own communities. And you can find me on all social media platforms. You can find me under this one email address right here, bit.ly/Laura Key info, and you'll see me everywhere.
Excellent. Thank you. And Constance.
So my sisters, y'all summed it up perfectly. Believe half of what you see and absolutely none of what you hear. just like they said, it's smoke and mirrors. First of all, I want to give a shout out to T. Chanel, because earlier she said, when I was talking about, daydreaming about fighting, she said, no, that's normal. So I appreciate you for not making me feel like I was abnormal for walking around daydreaming about fighting. Anyway, I digress. I just want to say this. It's so important that we fight the power. It's so important, more important, that we become self-sufficient and independent, like the Asian people who have the lowest voter turnout. I'm not saying not to vote, but they are so insulated by policies that they're not even affected no matter who's in office. We don't know that right now. The Republicans are killing by a landslide. And we're so worried about DEI and all of these other things going away. How can we not be affected? That's what we got to look at. We got to look at working together. We got to look at spending together. We got to look at collective economics. We got to look at education. We got to look at ourselves. We got to look within. We got to look at being self-sufficient and independent. We can't keep looking at Microsoft. Microsoft just dismantled their DEI department. We got to stop asking, and we have to start creating, period. So here's the thing. Black people, I love Black people. We have to be able to close the wealth gap. So how do we do that? For me, it's working with Black women. I love Black people, but most importantly, I love Black women. And so one of the things that I'm doing to contribute to the resolution of closing the wealth gap is I'm coaching Black women on how to increase their net worth to over 7 figures. And so if you are interested, follow me on everything. I am Constance Carter, and I'd love to talk to you about it. But I think we have to just look within ourselves, period. No matter who's in office, we need to be totally insulated by a lot of the decisions that are made, because we have no control at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, ladies. Well, I'm Jade Harrell. I'm an educator. I'm a national organizer. I'm a consultant. I do consulting in education, media, and politics. And I'm still learning about how to focus on only the things that I can control. So that serenity prayer is definitely my best friend. Consuming all of this media definitely impacts me, because it's my job to produce, these political stories, and then also to work in the community to counteract these things. So what I'm going to do is to stay focused on the mission and to really create some boundaries around my time. So those are my final words, just self-care in times of chaos, in times of fear mongering. So I'm not going to go outside and go find some weed to smoke. I'm not going to go into my uncle's closet and get the corn liquor out from down the country. I'm not even going to drink any more Bustelo coffee today. What I'm going to do is get off this call, and I'm going to go to the campaign that I'm working on and open up those tasks and start making phone calls and texting thousands of people so that we can get more Black people in office at the local level. And then I'm going to plan for my coaching program over at highblackesteem.com, where we do self-care for organizers and activists. We focus on resilience, right? And we have a holistic approach for those of us that are committed to serving the Black community in politics and organizing, and also even as entrepreneurs. And so we work on those things like, what do we need to do to take care of ourselves? How do we stay focused, working for our people, and, and having empathy for our people. So you can go over and learn about our programs at highblackesteem.com. But my biggest takeaways is everything that the queens on the panel said, plus my own self-care. So note to self, no more Bustelo, definitely no ooey, and no corn liquor from down the country. So I'm going to be good. And y'all see me back on here at Fly Nubian Money. I got to throw some jokes in, because we do need to laugh in these times. But we want to thank the entire audience for tuning in with us at Fly Nubian Money. Make sure you subscribe to our channel at flynubianqueen.com on YouTube, and that way you'll access us live and you can watch the replays as well. We are on Spotify. Be sure to text the word Queens to the number 87948. That's 87948, and you will be notified when we do go live and what the topic is for the day, as well as if we have any special events or free giveaways, which are really exciting. And if you want to join us and be a guest queen on our network, please send an email to info@realnetwork.com. I believe that's the website, right? Yes, info@realvirtual.net, info@reelvirtual.net. And so we would love to have some guests to come over and join our Fly Nubian Money panels. So with that being said, take care of yourselves and each other. And as our brother Willie D says, no more talk. Have a blessed day, y'all.